Hey guys, just doing an update here. It's been so long. Sorry it's been so long. I have kind of been all over the place since I got to Tallahassee. It's been just one thing after another, going from place to place. I had an Airbnb that I was doing, and there is a family who took me in during the hurricane who's been helping me with a few days here and there. And then a lady who I met at the clinic who is also really sick has offered a place for me to stay about an hour and a half from Tallahassee on a lake, and it's absolutely beautiful up there. So just kind of go somewhere, pack up my things, bring all my things out, and then 2 days later pack up and head out. And so it's just a lot of moving and going to get treatment. I got my armband on today from getting an IV earlier today. And so the Rocephin, I've been doing IV Rocephin for about 2 months now, and it's just been too much for me. I don't think it's been successful. I think that my gut has been affected by it. I've had a lot of gross moment, just diarrhea and nonstop pain in my gut, gurgling, and my diet is limited, but it got even more limited. And there's some scary moments, a couple days here and there that I had to fast, and even fast from water in order to get my system back in order. I know that a lot of people disagree with stopping the water when you have diarrhea, but that was, I would have water and it would just go right through me. I would try to do it while drinking water and just maybe stop the food or something, but the only way I could stop it was by stopping the water. And so I've learned that about my body. So that's happened twice. It happened one time this week where I needed to fast, and so I fasted for 2 days this week. The last time it was like 3 or 4 days. My finances are a wreck. I'm missing payments left and right, and it's pretty scary. I don't know what to do. I'm still in this legal battle with this lady who rented me a place that was just not, wasn't tenant ready. There were mold in the fridge, and she did some things that you can't do in the humidity of West Palm Beach. She left the whole electricity off and the air conditioner off in 80 to 90 degree weather. You just can't do that. So anyways, so I'm still dealing with that legal battle. I have to go back to West Palm later this year to deal with another pre-trial, and then hopefully it'll go to the actual trial. And hopefully I can get some of my money back. And it was actually a gift from a friend who had brought me, who had given me a loan to cover the amount. We got UPS here coming in, bringing us something. So she is unhappy with me because I have not paid her back, and she decided that she wanted all of it back within the year. This is all after telling me that it was like a gift. There was no real timeline. I don't mean gift. What I mean is, she said, I just want you to have this. I want you to take it, and we'll figure out all the details. There's no real timeline of giving it back. So it was very much like a beautiful gift, in the sense that I didn't have to worry about getting it right back to her. I could go live in the space and figure things out and get it back to her. But then all of a sudden, as soon as she found out that this was going on, she demanded it back within like 9 months or something like that. It ended up being about $450 a month that I would have to pay back. So just something I couldn't afford. They're my kiddos attacking the UPS guy. Rocky, chill out. Relax, bud. My vicious attack dogs. I'm trying to keep them away from this truck that's about to start up. Gracie, stay close, okay? So yeah, that's kind of the update. If you can or would like to support me, I need help. I don't know where I'm gonna live, and well, I guess I should share this. I feel like the Lord is leading me to deal with some of the stress in my life. I've been constantly stressed my whole life. You know, I'm 30 some years old, and it's like I've never been able to heal from the previous thing before another thing happens. You know, I was verbally and physically abused for a long time in my household, growing up as a teenager, and then going to college and dealing with same-sex attractions, and having to reconcile that with Christ, and deciding what I wanted to do with God and how to relate to Him, and the trauma of you know, trying to figure out my identity, and then fighting for and learning about some of the reasons why I had ended up the way that I was, and trying to work through those, and continue on the journey of accepting my masculinity, accepting who I was, and being abused by a guy who was an elder at a church who you know, cropped an angel into a photo of mine and started all these weird spiritually manipulative things because of that, and figuring out that he did that. The church totally taking his side and being like, oh, you put him on a pedestal, you shouldn't have done that. Trying to heal from that, going on this missions trip to China where I was just eviscerated by this lady in the field. I was a leader on the team, and then we got in the field, and she was just awful to me, and she had been the same way to the male leadership before, and so dealing with that, and you know, it's just been like, you know, that's not even half of it. There are other things that I haven't mentioned, but you know, my parents divorcing, my father, you know, just being a jerk, and really reckless and careless about his relationship in our family to my mother, and to us as kids, just being a liar, constantly saying he would do things and not following through, and you know, still kind of having to deal with some of these situations. So I think what has happened, part of my struggle now, is the fact that my fight or flight syndrome, my fight or flight response is like constantly triggered. So my system is upregulated. My amygdala, the part of the brain where the fight and flight comes from, is like really high. And like I spoke with a guy a week ago who was there when I was well for like 3 days. I was well for 3 days in the summer of 2014, and he was there shortly before then, and he was helping me with my business. Well, I was doing okay financially. There were some other things with what I was eating, and I also was on an antibiotic when I got well for 3 days. And I talked to him about his experience of me, and he admitted some things that I think was really good for me to hear, and he was very gentle but truthful in some things that, you know, they were hard to hear, but I think is right where God is leading me to see how my amygdala is triggered, and that that causes strife in relationships. And with me and him, I think I may have said or did things sort of abruptly, or there was no like lead up to it, you know, something like that. And I've had another person like mention that to me. So anyways, I know that I'm stressed out. I'm like completely stressed out, and I know that when I look at some of the I'm looking into some resources that really deal with the stress response. And unfortunately, I think that means that I'm not going to be as relational for a little bit, because I need to deal with myself apart from everybody else. And so I may make some videos along the way, but I'm not going to be responding to people, and I'm not going to really be interested in that until I get to a healthier place. And you know, I think it just may be important to have those videos later on, if should, you know, things change for me. You know, the idea is, the concept is that a large part of my sickness, why my whole body is so tense, like the fibromyalgia stuff, why my nervous system is so so sensitive that it picks up on electromagnetic fields and takes it in as if it was pain, is because it's already so upregulated. It like can't handle any more stress, and so it I mean, like, I have actual nerve damage because of this. So there are people who kind of moved through some retraining in the amygdala, who've gotten well from chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, many other illnesses. I mean, there's like a litany of lists, like things that people have gotten over through dealing with, helping to retrain the amygdala in the brain. So I don't know that that's fully my issue, but I know that it's a part of it, and it very likely can be a strong part of it, and maybe even a really high percentage of my problem. And maybe, should I deal with that, my body could digest food correctly. I could, my immune system could start functioning rightly. I could start having just better relationships, and slowly getting myself back to a place of normality, or maybe experiencing that for the first time. So if you're a prayer, please pray for me. This is really it's hard to give myself to a program like this sort of retraining, because it's a long-term commitment, and I think there's even shame to it. Like, I have to retrain my brain, you know, like I think that there's such a connection between the brain and personhood. I am not my brain, I know that, but there is a connection there, and so I can help. You know, my brain is not my mind. My mind is bigger than this thing in my head, and my personhood is involves my brain, like it interacts with my brain, but it is not my brain. But still, you know, when you talk about having something mental going on, that it feels shameful, it feels embarrassing, and people can take that the wrong way. But it's a very real thing. It affects the limbic system, it affects your immune response, it affects your digestion, it affects your heart. People have heart issues, people die because of stress. It affects everything. And if I've been like this my whole life, my known life, which is accurate, I would take tests, and like in classes, and like I don't know, like they would test for like your stress. I don't remember what class or why, but this has been at least 2 classes. I took a one course in graduate school that was like you know, a psychological course, and so that was probably one of them. and you're supposed to like list out and like check like the things that have happened and in your life, and like the range of like where you would be stressed. I'm like off the charts. Like I would be the highest out of everyone in the class. And so I think it makes a ton of sense to me. And it can't be just like, you can't say just stop it. You know, like you can't say, oh, well, just relax a little bit. It's like, yeah, those things are good, but if you have a very specific like issue, there are specific tools to get better and a specific training to get better. It's just like when, you know, when somebody has anorexia, you don't just tell them to like eat food, you know, like they have personal issues, you know, in relating to themselves and their body and their spirit and their mind, and what is actually wrong and how they got there, and dealing with underlying issues. And so there's many different layers to the healing process, and so I think that I'll probably share some of them later. I don't feel comfortable coming out with everything that I'm going to be doing to take care of myself, but it simply means, I guess, in my relationship with y'all, that I'm going to be a little bit pieced out for a bit. You know, you may see me here and there, but I'm not going to be consistently on Facebook and YouTube, stuff like that. But I still need your prayers. I'm so desperate for healing, and you know, this could take a good 6 months. You know, I don't know how long this will take, but it could take 6 months to start, you know, and then you know, I may just have a completely different way of relating to the world. So you can pray for me and my, you know, my personhood, that I'd be able to integrate myself and in such a way that I retain, you know, so much good of who I am, but just a lower stress, and have more calmness in my spirit, and function well in my soul, my connectedness, to just function better, get my feng shui together, most importantly, I need financial help. I'm alone right now, you know, trying to make it in Tallahassee as a person who is completely sick. I just had somebody write some crazy response on, you know, somebody who was kind enough to repost my request for help through my YouCaring site. You can go to youcaring.com/Justin